Alrighty, welcome back to the NHL 24 online versus series, where I play a game with every team, let you know what I like, what I don't like about them, and on today's episode, we got the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota Wild, interesting team, especially when you take into account where they're sitting in the standings right now. They are bottom 10 in the NHL. Just not good. They're sitting at 3-5-2. And for a team that has no cap space, not a lot of assets that they can deal unless they want to deal one of their top prospects, which, why would you? Oh, this game's going to be annoying. But yeah, I don't know, coming into the season, I had them as almost a lock to make the playoffs just because I think they've been in it 4 out of the last 5 years, you know. They have a true star player in Kaprizov. And honestly, I think Matt Zuccarello is really good for this team too, especially on that line with Kaprizov. I mean, those guys, they mesh so well together. Fun hockey to watch. I don't watch it. I mean, I watch a decent amount of other teams around the NHL, except for I watch a decent amount of games other than my Red Wings, but Minnesota is definitely one that when they're on, I'll put it on just because of the entertainment factor. But I haven't watched them this year, and probably for good reason. They are not. That was supposed to be a one-time pass. You know, and when you look at them on paper, they should be good. I don't know. I guess they're just not producing like that, and I really don't know what they could do. Usually, you could say, "Oh well, they just need to add center depth." Well, they have $9,000 in cap room. They're not going to get anyone for. You just can't bring in a guy like that, not even on the minimum. Just super disappointing with them, because if they don't make the playoffs, yeah, they got their first round pick, but they're just kind of in that middle range where they got guys under contract, but if you can't win with those guys, and I don't think they're going to be able to trade the bad contracts they kind of have in. Well, I'll talk about the bad contracts later, but yeah, and I don't know. It's not because they're not getting good production out of their top guys. You know, I think Eriksson, Kaprizov, Zuccarello, and Hartman are all right at a point per game, which is what you want to see out of those guys. You know, your top line guys. I don't know. Eriksson could be playing on the third line. I'm not too sure, but I know he plays power play, which is where you want those points to come from. But man, Sorokin is going to give me problems this game. But also they've had their goaltending has been atrocious, and nice goal. And that might be a reason why they're struggling so much. Because last year, Gustafsson was a real good goalie for him. Fleury has really struggled since he's been there. But this year, they both have below 3 or above 3 goals against average, which I get it. Like, for your backup, it's not fine. And Fleury's is actually better at, I think, 3.2. And Gustafsson is at, like, 4.5 or something like that. Like, that's atrocious from your starting goaltender. You can't be giving up that much. And you could say the team is, like, the defense hasn't been there. But they both also have below 90% save percentage, which is kind of like, that's the stat I like to look at for goalies, because yeah, you could look at a goalie and say, oh, he allows 3.5 goals a game. Well, he could also have like a 9-2 save percentage, but his team gives up a stupid amount of shots. I know the Red Wings did that to goaltenders for years, and the goaltenders played good, but the defense just wasn't there, and I don't think that's the case with Minnesota, which is unfortunate because, like I said, they can't bring in anyone. They don't have any money. I wish you were a little faster. I don't even know who that was. But yeah, the goaltending's got to pick it up. If the goaltending picks it up, they could find themselves into a playoff spot because they have to. They got the talent, and man, I need to move to where I can get around people when they're kind of coming at me from the side. Some dude I was playing last week or something, he put out a move that absolutely, like, it got me so bad and it was disgusting, and I really need to this guy's serious. I need to learn what he did. He like put the puck into his skates and then kicked it back to his stick, but he also stopped at the same time. It was an insane move. I've never seen anyone do that in all my years of playing NHL, so yeah, I gotta go. Oh, if that would have won, I would have been mad. But yeah, I gotta figure out how to do that. But also, I guess I'll talk about the bad contracts in Minnesota right now because I think that's it's kind of what's hurting them a little bit too. You got Minnesota. They love giving out massive contracts. Look at the Suter and Parise contracts they gave out. Suter's it wasn't deserved because he never lived up to that, but I think that one worked out decently, but you saw at the end he's like 38 years old and they have to get off an $11 million dollar cap hit. That's a lot. I'm kind of surprised they were able to get him moved. I'm not sure if they retained salary. I would be very surprised if they didn't, because Dallas also has bad contracts. Oh, rebound. But yeah, I think getting back on topic, Spurgeon's contract of $7 million a season for the next like 4 seasons or something like that. It's not bad because he's a good player, but at the same time he's 33 years old, and he's injured this year, and he's not the biggest guy, so he's not a bruiser that's going to be able to play till he's 37 without injuries, and he's just going to be solid in whatever role you play him on. You know, I don't see him playing out the end of that contract in Minnesota, and they're probably going to have to eat some salary, which is really tough for a team that has no salary left. So, yeah, Spurgeon's contract, and then both of the goalies are making $9.3 million. I think for Fleury that's too much because he's so far out of his prime that I don't know. I think he's a third goaltender most places. You know, especially the season he's kind of having now, and the season he had last year and the year before. Like when he was on the Blackhawks, he was just atrocious. And he comes to Minnesota and he plays a couple good games, and then he just kind of falls off because he's in his prime. He was such an athletic goaltender that his technique was always good. I'm not going to say it wasn't, but the saves he made were very athletic, and I just don't think he's young. I think he's too old to be making those, bailing himself out with his athleticism. So I think that's a problem, but that could have been dirty. Nice goal. But he's coming off the books next year. You still got Gustafsson for 2 more years, and I don't know. I expect him to bounce back a little bit, but if he doesn't, that contract could be looking horrible. Um, and I don't really like the fact that they extended Marcus Foligno as he scored a goal for me. I'm about to talk crap about him, but they extended him for 4 years at 4 million. Ooh, that was kind of nice. And I don't know. I think he's 32 or 33, so he's gonna be what 35, 36 by the time that contract ends. And I said I don't watch. I'm not like watching every game of the Minnesota Wild, but Marcus Foligno, he just kind of seems like a third line penalty kill guy, which you need those guys and they're important. But 4 million for that guy, and he is probably a really good locker room guy, um, because he's the assistant captain and all that. So they probably wanted to keep him in the building, but I'm kind of surprised they did it for 4 million. That just seems like a lot for the kind of player he is. I don't think he'll ever be. He might give you 20 goals in the season, maybe 20 to 30 apples, but I think 60 points is probably where he tops out at. So I don't know, 4 million for a guy like that, a little high for me. But I bet he's a good locker room guy, probably a guy that just didn't want to leave the building. But yeah, that's about all the contracts. I went through them, and yeah, they just extended Boltley and Kaprizov's making 9. They're probably gonna work on an extension at the end of the season because he's only got 2 more years left on his. Give that guy every ounce of money you have because he is insane. He's one of my favorite players to watch. He's electric. That's the only way I can describe him. He is so, like, he's not even bad at defense either for being kind of like a pure sniper ish. He is just he's elite. Definitely one of the best players in the NHL, making Sorokin look silly right now. But yeah, I also want to talk about the young guys they got coming up because I think they're really exciting. One that sticks out to me who got a massive contract extension. I think like I think it's like 6 or 7 years at 7 million is Matt Boldy. And I remember watching his first NHL game as it was versing my Red Wings. And man, he had like 2 goals. He was everywhere. He was playing the body. He was driving to the net, setting people up. Like the kid's the real deal. I think that's really good for Minnesota that they got him locked down. I think I could definitely see him being like a 30 goal guy, maybe cracking 100 points. I think that's a little much, but he's so young. We still don't know what he's going to turn into, but I really like him. He's a real good player ever since he came to the league. So I think, and he's also been out, so that might explain their slow start a little bit. He just came back. I had him in fantasy hockey, and I had to drop him because I was getting waxed, and I had to pick up other players and stuff like that, which was not cool. And then someone picked him up, and I was not happy about it because he's that good. I think in every game he's played this year, he's put up like 2 points. But speaking of young kids, I want to see what Marco Rossi can do. He's got decent point production so far this season, but he's a guy I think on the same level as Boldy. He can be a true difference maker for them. A little undersized, only 5'9" at center. I don't know what his defensive game looks like, but like they got Matt Zuccarello at I think like he might be 5'9". I think he's like 5'8", so a little shorter than Rossi, but I don't know. I think Rossi can turn into kind of like a Matt Zuccarello type, just be a true playmaker, driving offense. I want to see that out of him. Callan Anderson on the back end, he's a decent prospect. I think he's kind of like, oh man, this guy's not even playing. I don't like that. Um, he's like kind of just like an NHL player now. He's still young, but I don't know if I would call him a prospect anymore. No way, I just ruined my shutout like that. What was that? Dude, that's trash. That's so trash. Where's the pass assist? I literally had it right in my player. Oh well. That sucks. Didn't want that to happen. But oh, now he's playing. Okay. Yep. So Callan Anderson, he's just an NHL player, but he's still young. I think he's got good potential as an offensive guy. I think he could be like a Shane Gostisbehere kind of quarterback power play. I think he'd be good in that role. If he's not already, well. Spurgeon's hurt, so he might be quarterbacking it. But when Spurgeon comes back, Spurgeon's definitely gonna be quarterbacking that power play. I think Anderson, he could eventually get up to that that kind of status. Ooh, Elite Eight edges, love that. But yeah, he's good. I've heard Brock Faber's good. Not too sure on him. Haven't seen him play yet. Um, but I've heard nothing but good things like from just like around the NHL. trash can. Um, but yeah, and then Jesper Wallstead, who I wanted my Red Wings to pick, but they picked Sebastian Kosa. I think he's just going to be a good goalie. His technique is flawless. I think that's going to end up being a good pick for them. Just got to wait for him to kind of break into the NHL and get established. But with Fleury going out the door, I guarantee he comes in this year, if not next year. So, but yeah, it's the Minnesota Wild. I actually really like that team. Kaprizov was really good. Zuccarello was really good. And Gustafsson was surprisingly good. So, yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one.